Time now to check in with Teresa Kashuba and Autumn Treasures.
A little bit like a couple of the last recent days, captured in oil and acrylic by Gail McFadden. The new Checks Daily is doing a whirlwind tour of wonderful art, and Gail McFadden is one of the artists we're featuring because Autumn Treasures is on the way. What are you working on now, Gail?
I'm working on a scene from Algonquin Park.
Do you have a favorite subject?
Yes, rusty old cars and trucks.
Well, how did that happen?
Well, I think it's from growing up in the country. The tractor over there is one of my favorite ones, and I like the old Model T car down there. I think they have a lot of personality.
What did you bring?
Well, this is one of my pieces. I'm a potter. I've been a potter for too long.
Too long.
38 years.
How long does it take to actually, now did you plan that this was
Yes.
how it's going to be?
Yes.
See, that's the difference.
I visualize things before I make them, yes. That's right, yeah.
So how long would it have taken you to work on that?
Well, it takes a couple of weeks from start to finish.
And what's this texture called?
It's like a bark on the outside.
Yeah.
But it won't come off. It's sort of one of my signature pieces.
How many different vendors part of the 24th annual Autumn Treasure Show?
There's over 70 vendors.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, it's interesting. I use the word vendors because that's what trade shows use, but
Yes.
these are artists and artisans
That's right.
providing all different kinds of interesting pieces.
That's right.
And one of the other things that we'll find at Autumn Treasures is brass and copper sculpture because the Williams will be there. Hi, Bev.
Hi there. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. These are pieces that you can take just about anywhere. Can they be outside as well?
Yes, certain ones can, depending upon the finish that we put on it. If we know that the client wants something for outside, then we don't put on the lacquer finish. Whereas a fountain like this, it has no finish to start with, so that it goes outside and it will eventually turn green like copper does.
Now, will all of that be green? Because I see that you've got like brown, copper color, and a yellowish color too.
Well, the yellow color is brass, although it looks like gold.
Yeah.
It does go sort of an olivey green, which is nice, whereas the copper itself really does go dark green.
Copper, brass, paint, and fabric, all part of the Autumn Treasure Show. AutumnTreasures.ca coming up in November, and much more from the beautiful artisans of our region coming up on the new Checks Daily.
Thanks, Megan. And right now we're going to rejoin Teresa Kashuba and Autumn Treasures.
This week, as we lead up to Autumn Treasures in November, the folk art painters are trying their hand at watercolor under the direction of Sharon Taylor. Here's your class today.
Yes.
Because the leaves are still around, grab them while you can. We're going to give you a nice little project at home. I think it would be fun to do this with the kids at home. Or
It is. Yeah.
How have you done this by step? You've created a beautiful background.
Create a beautiful background just with generalized color. So you wet the paper first, and then you put lots and lots of color on. So this is the background.
I see.
And then what we do is we just take a few leaves and trace them on here. And then we start painting into the background. So that's called negative painting. It's negative painting when you paint into the background. So we just paint around the where I've traced the leaf on. And what I want is fairly heavy paint. I want a nice bead of paint. And then I will take a wet brush and spread out the paint.
At first, you're just not quite sure. It looks so thick and awkward, and then as it starts to spread, it looks beautiful.
Right. The basic thing is to have the generalized color, then do the first layer of leaves, right? So this is the first layer. And you go around them, and then you put leaves in the background and trace around those.
Do the same. Beautiful.
So you're always painting into the negative space.
All right.
And then the last thing you do is put on a little bit of detail.
Well, I called it tricks of the trade. Apparently it's a technique, and all of the folk art painters are picking it up. Coming up next, blowtorch and art on the new Checks Daily.
Dwayne James of Peterborough will be at Autumn Treasures. He is also water painting, one of my favorite subjects, but you're doing it quite differently than the group in the other room. So what is this technique?
This technique, I don't know if it has a name. It's I use the paints very dry.
Okay.
So they're watercolors, but I use them very dry because it allows me to get this this textured look. So it's not a wash; it's more of a stippling effect, I guess. When I work on a painting, it's basically what area of the painting moves me the most, and that's where I move and start painting.
I am a big fan of your work. Thanks for bringing it and showing us.
Thank you.
I'm just showing how I make some coils. Now these are often used for making chains or jewelry. This is copper. It's a very nice metal to work with. And to make some of the coils you need a mandrel, which is like this. I can make these larger rings. Once I've cut the wire, I've got individual jump rings like these little ones or the larger ones.
Oh my gosh.
And these are the building blocks for making virtually any pattern. Yes.
You have literally hundreds of those little tiny rings in a
Yes.
piece.
Oh, yes. I've made pieces with up to 1,000 rings
Oh my
in them.
gosh, that just became
Yeah.
really tedious to me.
But there's so many different patterns, you never get bored.
The New Checks Daily is ramping up with just a few of the samples of things that you will find and see at the Autumn Treasures Show. It's a real celebration of local art and artisans, and it's coming up in November, autumntreasures.ca.